Hello, hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie Nadolny. I am a voice actor and vocalist in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. I had the pleasure of being interviewed by Keith Andrew. He has the Keith Andrew Network. He's doing a fantastic job. He does over 900 episodes. He's got a lot of things in the works. So keep up the good work, Keith Andrew. It's been my pleasure. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Kamehameha!
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the one and only Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 908. That's right, 908. Today was a very special episode. We are here with the voice of Kid Goku, Kid Gohan, and Teen Gohan. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Thank you for being a part of my childhood and being a part of the Keith Andrew Network.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, the honor's all mine. You know, I'm a big Die-Hard fan. You know, Dragon Ball helped me through so much. And we actually have a mutual acquaintance. I saw your interview with Elise Ballman.
Yes.
And you know, she's a wonderful person. I love Pan. You know, she's great. You know, I call her Pan. I said, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, you will always be Pan to me.
Right.
You know, I got Joss on the show. He's a great guy. I got Chuck on the show. So it was actually great to have, you know, Kid Goku, Kid Gohan, and Teen Gohan.
Yeah.
But this is not going to be obsessed, you know, about Dragon Ball, but we will talk about it. The reason I don't want to say obsessed is because when I have professional wrestlers on, you know, from WWE and WCW, they're like, oh, well, he wants to talk about wrestling this, wrestling that, blah, 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 blah. But you're a human being, I'm a human being. It's a normal conversation, so we're going to work into it.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
No, absolutely. And it's freedom of speech, self-expression. You can say anything you want, talk about anything you want. But the first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
Wow, that's a I could speak for a while on that question. I'll try to summarize it though. You know, I've just been a mimic, a singer, a performer, entertainer my whole life. Even long ago as a kid, that's just was a fascination of mine, a passion of mine was singing, music, dancing, and then mimicking what I hear like on my own childhood cartoons. And what's crazy is I was doing that for fun kind of off and on my whole life. And I kind of sort of stumbled into the profession of voice acting. It wasn't something I pursued from the get-go, but being a singer and performing with bands and traveling and touring put me in an industry and a network to meet others in different fields regarding, you know, similar things with the voice. And so I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. I ended up moving around a lot growing up. So I lived in small towns, was a new girl a lot. And it was hard to fit in, moving around a lot. But now that I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth area since 11th grade, I'm through college. I love it here. And we're in a snowstorm right now, believe it or not, in North Texas. We just got like 3 or 4 inches of snow. So we're all snowed in today, but no, so I just, you know, did anything from acting in community theater, school, majored in drama in college. I did drill team, anything and everything. I mean, I did a lot of poetry growing up. So I was really into writing songs and lyrics and took piano for about 6 years. And now I'm back in piano lessons now. And I have a band that's performing a little bit more now that the pandemic is slowing down a little less, but whatever it's doing, we're able to do a little bit of work. And I'm doing conventions now. So I got into the industry through singing, which is my first passion, and thankfully was able to land the audition for this amazing show that I didn't know anything about at the time, or its popularity for that matter. So that's kind of how it happened. It just kind of like, you know, I was just out there doing this, doing that, meeting lots of people, and which I love, meeting people. And now here I am, you know, working on some new projects, got a new website, StephanieNadolny.com. It's in its it's in its beginning stages. We've been working on this for a while. So yeah, but that's what I do. Anything involving the voice, singing, performing. I write parodies and jingles and do a lot of comedy with it. I like to be silly.
No, absolutely. The first thing I do want to point out, not to talk about political things, but it's freedom of speech. Everyone should be vaccinated. And the thing about the pandemic is now, I don't know why they're showing this stupid commercial. The first they said, oh, you should wear the N95s. They work so much better. So her commercial tell you about like 6 o'clock, say, don't wear those, wear the exposable ones, the disposable ones.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like, make up your mind. Are the N95s better than the disposables, or the disposables better than the N95? Don't put crap on the TV. And that's why people get so fed up with it. It's like, you say one thing, but they're telling you to do the other. But I heard from my doctor, this is going to become endemic. So what that means, it's going to be like the flu. So you got to get vaccinated. You got to get a shot. Yeah. Some people think it will eventually burn out once everyone got in it. Some people would say it's the flu, but it's and, at the end of the day, not to sound like an ass or anything, you live only once. Do what you want. Be safe. Be happy. Be smart, and just be considerate. There's so much garbage going on in the news. We can go talk about that if you want. Don't want to talk about that, but in the beginning of my show, actually, go ahead. I'll give you time to answer.
Oh no, I was just listening to you about what you were saying. Yeah, I mean, it's been a tough couple of years for everybody, and we've had to adapt. If we want to survive, you have to adapt, and if your body has the antibodies and you're able to survive it, I've gotten to where I know almost everybody I know has had it in some form, shape or form, or they have somebody in their family or some close loved one that has had it. Fortunately, we are still here for whatever reason. So for that, I'm very grateful. We have another day on this big rock floating through space. So, but no, I don't, I'm not into politics or anything. I mean, I'm definitely a live and let live, lover, not a fighter type of person. So I like to roll with the flow and let people be who they are and just let things be. Peace.
I agree. And I don't do my speech because after 900 episodes, especially in the very beginning, if you watch it from 500 on, it's the same text speech. But I can give you the quick highlight if you want to hear the speech.
Okay.
So pretty much how I used to start my episodes is the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break labels. Saying that after close to 1,000 times, it kind of gets repetitive. So if you're a diehard fan of mine, you know what I'm going to say. So that's why I said we're going to jump right into it to cut out the middleman.
Right.
I may keep it, or I may just do like a commercial break with the speech, but it's not about me. This is about you. But the other question I want to ask you, it's while we're on the subject, besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities, and are you willing to work with people with learning disabilities?
Absolutely. I've done a lot of interviews with people with just various disabilities. And I also have a campaign that I'm in and out of with different sources and different people for an anti-bullying type thing. Growing up, I know a lot of people do get bullied. I was one of them, moving around a lot at young ages and trying to fit into small towns and stuff like that. And different types of people, different times of the year, different ages. It was very difficult. So I'm a big supporter of anti-bullying campaigns. There's one called Pink Thursdays that I'm going to be working with. We're going to be doing a video for that. But I absolutely love people, any and all people with or without disabilities. and disabilities, that's a big word. That could be anything, it could be mental illness, it could be physical, it could be, I'm not an expert or anything, but I think in some ways all people have, may not be considered a disability, but that we all have moral defects of character, and we're all trying to struggle through and survive and fight our demons and do the best job that we can while we are here. So yeah, I'm game. Absolutely.
I probably get some blowback from this one, but do you think Goku has learning disabilities?
I think he does a little. Yeah. Little baby Goku. He just, he's not book smart, but he never, he isn't book smart because he didn't go to school. He wasn't schooled. So, but I think that pure innocence of heart, makes him endearing, and
for me,
he's a good guy. He fights the bad guys, and light over dark. The whole concept is a cool thing.
Absolutely. For me, I said this to Elise Ballman, Josh, and Chuck. Actually, for me, I walk around with not. Sometimes it's my emotions on my sleeves. I'm still working on that. But I walk around with an arrogance. I held my head up high like Prince Vegeta. But I have the heart that's Goku, as I'm stupid and naive, and I'm always optimistic. So I always try to keep a balance between the two.
It's a daily struggle. I hear you loud and clear. But I think it's good to kind of just, I think staying humble is important, because we're all just people. We're all humans, and we're all fighting battles and trying to get through life and survive and be the best we can be. And we learn. We're here to learn every single day. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have done something that I had no idea at the time when I was reporting was going to touch so many lives, hopefully in positive ways, empower, kiddos, or I say kids that, grew up with it, like you said, from your childhood, but like to feel like I contributed to something that is much bigger than I ever really realized, and to have had that opportunity is a blessing. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm glad to always hear the stories from the fans and go face to face at the cons and just hold the babies and hug the kids, as much as we can in this day and time. And that's my favorite part of all of this, is getting face to face with the fans and hearing from them and giving them lots of attention and listening to them, their stories. And they have questions for me sometimes that I may or may not answer, or may not have the answer. But a lot of signing, Funko Pops and prints and posters. And it's really near and dear to my heart. I'm just really blessed to be able to do that. I've got a lot of bookings this year, and I will go just about anywhere. And so, yeah.
If you're down for it, maybe one day we can get lunch or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm wide open. Yeah.
And I didn't mean to impose on you. I'd say that to all my guests.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So the other question I wanted to ask you, I'm a big fan of Bruce Falco, sorry. And I want Bruce on the show. And you may know him. He does music for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, every time I tell people about my show, it always says, why do you want me on your show? I don't have disabilities. Okay, let me rephrase that. By having you on the show, you're supporting someone with disabilities. So I'm still working on the details, but I love his music nonetheless. It's so amazing. I found out actually a couple of years ago, but Funimation actually made He-Man and She-Ra. And I put Bruce's music towards He-Man and She-Ra, and it's absolutely amazing how it flows together. And also I use Bruce's music for everything. Star Wars, Superman, Batman. It's like this music, it's freaking good. It goes with everything, and it makes it so much better. So the question I want to ask you is, being in the music business, as being a singer, do you feel if it's a good genre or if it has a good beat or a good flow, but you can actually use that soundtrack, the same soundtrack for anything.
Oh yeah, well, first thing I'm thinking of is the soundtrack of my life. It's like, you know, I mean, growing up with music and having parents that were very, very into music, I was surrounded by it and absolutely gravitated towards it as a, you know, as an infant, you know, as a little child. And so, I mean, I find in my life that there's just been certain, you know, bodies of music that have gone along with what I've been through in my life, my ups and downs and my roller coasters and my losses and griefs and mistakes and anything and everything. So yeah, I mean, and I know who you're talking about. I've worked with him before with some voice work, as well as a demo for a local band, probably about 15 years ago. So I have been to the studio there, and yeah, I mean, and I did have the opportunity to work with some of the anime themes. And around 2001 to 2002, I worked with Carl Finch of Brave Combo. They're a Grammy award-winning polka band out of Denton, Texas, which just happens to be just north of me, where I went to college and lived in Denton for a while. And we were working on some of the anime themes, and I was able to record the opening and closing theme for Kitty Grade, and a song from Yu Yu Hakusho called Sayonara Bye Bye. A lot of my fans don't realize I started out singing long before the voice acting came into play. So yeah, music's powerful. It's it can touch people in ways that are hard to express, that they take you back somewhere. They remind you of something, depending on what you heard when you were growing up. And music is powerful. It's therapeutic. It's my therapist. It's my daily therapist is music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta have it. I gotta have it.
No, I agree. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, how did you come across Funimation, and how did your career start in the Dragon Ball world?
Right. That's a good one. What had happened was I was singing in the studio in Denton with Brave Combo. They were doing some music and some themes for a project at Funimation called Cyborgs. And I didn't know the client. I just showed up for work and laid the vocals down, some really high, like Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, like, some really cool high notes. And I laid those tracks down. And when I was there, I met the producer and, director of Dragon Ball Z, which was being recorded in Canada at the time. This was in the late 90s. I had been performing with my show band, and this was some of the side work I was doing while I was in town. So I was able to meet with Barry, and he asked me, have you ever done any voice work? And I said, well, I play around with my voice and have done mimicking and my own cassette tape shows as a kid and prank calls. And yeah, I mean, I've definitely done some of that. I did a little bit of work with Chuck E. Cheese, and he and I exchanged information, and he remembered who I was. And so when the decision was made to take the show from Canada down to DFW, Fort Worth, I got the call to come and audition. So it wasn't an open call, and I was fortunately able to meet someone who, was interested in my voice and wanted to give me a try. And I went in and auditioned for female characters, not knowing anything about the show and not really knowing anything about what was going on at all. But I was just happy to be there, happy for an opportunity to do something different. And I was cast as Kid Gohan in the Ginyu Saga, and that's kind of how that happened. So I was at the right place at the right time. And coincidentally, then we went on to the Goku and Dragon Ball GT Sky. Oh my. Baby Trunks, background, wall of voices, village people, just whatever they needed. The company was really small, so a lot of times when we were already there recording our lines and going from line to line, we would record some of the other background voices while we were there.
Well, I'm going to mention a couple of names, and I want your honest opinions about them. And you can always say pass if you don't want to say anything. First one I'm going to ask you is Elise Ballman.
Elise Ballman is a doll. I love her. She's great. I worked with her in Dragon Ball GT, she was cast as Pan and I was Goku. Of course, it's technically her grandpa. So we always find it funny when we'd pass back and forth in between the hallways to and from work. She'd be like, "Hi, Grandpa." And I'm like, "Oh, that Goku voice," you know. But more than anything, I respect Elise in the field of, wow, I mean, she does video production interviews with all kinds of voice actors in anime. Mostly it's adventures in anime. And so she's an actress and an MC, and we have a lot in common. And both just, we get along great. I see her at some conventions. I've got one coming up with her in Georgia in April. I didn't even know until I checked the website. I'm like, oh, yay. So I'll be doing an appearance with her and a signing. And I'm thrilled with what she's doing with workshops and mentoring young folks who are wanting to get into the industry of voice acting. And she's great. Like I said, I'm excited about seeing her again soon. So I've got her cell phone number. I can text her.
I do too.
That's wonderful. I love that.
But I agree with you hands down. She is a sweetheart. I think the world of her.
Yes.
Did you ever sounds like a stupid question, but did you get the chance to meet Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabbath?
I did. I met them way back in the day when we were all cast years ago in the show, and we would actually have cast parties. When something wrapped, like a deadline or the end of a saga, we would have a cast party, and we'd all get to meet and hang out and do karaoke and eat and chat about the show and be silly. And so that's where I met most of the cast, the original cast members, was when we had our first cast party. And then some of the actors, the voice actors, also got into directing. So I would meet them and they would direct me in, say, Dragon Ball. So yeah, I haven't seen them recently. I think some of them have moved around a little bit. I know Sean's not in Texas anymore, but yeah, I feel like they're just like kind of like my old family, because we were all youngsters in our 20s, and I don't know, just really starting out a career that we didn't know we about to embark on. So
no, it's an amazing career, and that's the fact you impacted so many people out there. There's actually some I've been working on. I'm trying to get Funimation on it, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, Keith, you're obsessed with Dragon Ball." Maybe I am, but not to get morbid or anything. But when I die, I want to do my life over, but in the Dragon Ball universe. And I'm like, why wait? There's so much I can do in the meantime. Why not work with a couple actors and we can do like a fan-made parody? And I can write stories. Like now I'm working with you and we're building a friendship. I'm working with Elise, Chuck. It's like, this has so much potential. And some of the fan-made stuff is actually really good. But the reason I bring that up, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing. There's some great talent out there and some things on the internet that I wish we had internet when I was a youngster, because I'd have been all over that, singing songs. And yeah, that's great. And I have worked with Chuck too, by the way. He's great. He's an excellent actor, and he's a lot of fun to work with. He does some really good work.
Absolutely. Now it's the last 6 minutes. I got to pass it over to you. But the one thing I want to ask you, it's actually, I'm going to pass it over to you because I just actually lost what I was going to ask you. So write it down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's the last 6 minutes. Is there anything you wanted to know? Anything you want to promote? You can ask me. I have no cards on my sleeve. It's just your time. So whatever you want to know.
Oh, yeah. Are we out? I didn't know how long you needed to speak, but yeah, if we're wrapping up, no, just that I love the fans. I appreciate all of you. Hopefully going to be working on some more projects soon. I've got a few auditions and proposals that are being submitted right now for some new work. I'll just be posting it as we go along on StephanieNadolny.com. I'll be active on the social media. That will also list my calendar. I know that time will pass. So if you're watching this now, I've got one in San Antonio and Austin this weekend, February 5th and 6th, 2022. And some other ones coming up in Georgia, various parts of Florida, Super Saiyan Restaurant, there in Orlando. I've got my calendar and I am writing them down. I'm old school, so I write them down and then put them in the computer and stuff. So I'm just really excited to, my pleasure to be a guest today. And if you ever want to call me back up, we can do this again. Maybe Elise and I could meet you at the same time. We could do that kind of an interaction would be kind of fun.
No, absolutely. And actually, I want to do a Dragon Ball episode. And now that I have you on the list, we can definitely do that. We can definitely talk about that off the air. But I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest, because you get thousands of people asking, can you do my show? Can you do my show? And it's great that people ask, but you don't know if they're legit, if they're being legit or real or authentic. So I want your brutal, honest opinion. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first response? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people? Being completely honest.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love your backdrop. I checked it out. I had the time available. It was perfect. We're snowed in. I'm like, let's do this. I get antsy sometimes when I can't go anywhere and I feel kind of trapped. So I got to keep my mind going, being a very creative, like high imagination, creative type. So no, I was excited to check it out. I mean, I can pretty much tell if somebody asked me to do an interview and we get on and it's just, if it's awkward or something, it's like, no, this isn't going to work. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've been able to work with some really nice people, up and comers, people that want to do podcasts, want to go into journalism. Some of them want to go into voice acting. Some of them want to go into music. They have questions about music, piano, or instruments and things like that. So, yeah, and I think you're amazing. And I'm very proud of you and what you're doing. And it sounds like you've been doing this for a long time. And that's awesome. That's really great work.
No,
glad to be a part of it today.
Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but our fans, I do want to say, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you hit the notification icon. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe. June 10th, one thing I do want to say, might as well plug it now. June 10th at 8 p.m. It's going to be a special 9-year anniversary of the KeithAndrewNetwork. If you want to add that to your calendar now, I know you guys get really busy. Love to have you part of that.
Yes.
If you're into professional wrestling, actors, actresses, models, CEOs, anyone in the independent world, KeithAndrewNetwork has that covered. Our Instagram information will be on the bottom of the screen. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I just want to say thank you very much. And until we meet again, catch you later.